English is very important. Many people around the world speak English. If you can speak English well, you can talk to many people, make new friends, get a good job, and travel to different countries. So, how can you improve your English speaking? I know. Learning a new language can sometimes feel difficult, maybe even a little scary, right? You might be wondering, how am I ever going to remember all these words? Or maybe you're thinking, what if I make mistakes and people laugh at me? Well, let me tell you something important. You don't need to be afraid. Learning English doesn't have to be so hard. In fact, if you take it step by step, it can be fun and easy. Just like learning anything new, it's all about starting simple, being consistent, and enjoying the process. You don't have to learn everything at once. Trust me, nobody does. Even native English speakers had to start with baby steps when they were kids. Today, I'm going to share with you some of the easiest and most effective ways to learn English. By the end of this story, you'll feel confident and ready to take on this new challenge. Imagine yourself being able to speak English fluently, watching your favorite movies without subtitles, or having conversations with people from around the world. It's possible, and you can do it. All you need is the right mindset. Think of learning English like building a house. You start with small bricks, the basics, and over time, as you keep adding more bricks, your house grows bigger and stronger. In the same way, we will start with small pieces of English, like simple words and phrases, and build up from there. So, are you ready to begin this journey? Let's get started together. I'm here to help guide you, and soon you'll see that learning English can be easier than you ever imagined. Let's do this. All right, now that we've talked about how learning English can be easy, let's start with the very first step, learning basic words. You might wonder, why should I start with words? Can't I just jump into speaking? Well, let me explain why starting with simple words is so important. Think about this. Words are like building blocks. They are the foundation of any language, just like bricks are the foundation of a house. If you don't know the basic words, it's like trying to build a house without bricks. You need these words to form sentences, and later, those sentences will turn into conversations. So, mastering basic words is the first and one of the most important steps in learning English. Let's keep it simple. You don't need to learn hundreds of words at once. No. That would be overwhelming, and you would probably forget most of them. Instead, start small. Begin with the words that you use every day. These are the words that will help you in real-life situations. Think about the things around you, like table, door, pen, phone, and water. These are things you see and use all the time. When you learn these words, you can start to name the things you interact with in your daily life. You can look at your phone and think, this is my phone. Simple, right? But it doesn't stop there. Once you have a few basic words, you can start to combine them. Let's say you've learned words like apple, eat, and I. Now you can say, I eat an apple. Just by learning a few simple words, you can start to create full sentences. This is the magic of starting with the basics. Every small word you learn is like a piece of a puzzle. As you keep adding more words, the picture becomes clearer, and soon you'll be speaking English with more confidence. And here's a tip. Focus on words that you will actually use in your daily life. For example, if you love food, start with words related to food, like bread, milk, rice, or banana. If you like talking about family, learn words like mother, father, sister, or brother. This way, you're not just memorizing random words. You're learning words that are useful to you, words that you'll actually use in conversations. Trust me, this will make learning much more fun and practical. Another thing you can do is label things around your house. This is a great way to practice. Let's say you want to remember the word chair. Take a sticky note, write chair on it, and stick it to your chair. Every time you look at that chair, you'll see the word and remember it. This is a simple trick, but it works wonders. It's like surrounding yourself with English, even in your own home. Also, don't be afraid to repeat words. Repetition is your best friend when learning a language. The more you repeat a word, the easier it will stick in your mind. When you hear or read a new word, try to say it out loud a few times. Write it down. Use it in a sentence. The more you engage with the word, the faster you will remember it. Let's make it even easier. Start with the most common words. Did you know that just by learning the 100 most common English words, you can understand a huge part of everyday conversations? These are words like the, is, and, you, I, have, and go. These words show up everywhere, and once you know them, you'll start to understand a lot more English than you think. So, here's your first task. Make a list of 10 simple, everyday words that you can start with. Focus on words that are useful to you, words that you see or use in your life. Write them down, practice saying them, and try to use them in short sentences. You'll be surprised at how quickly you can start using these words. Remember, learning English is like a journey. You don't have to rush. Start with these small, basic words, and over time, you'll see just how much progress you're making. These simple words are the first step, and once you've mastered them, you're already on your way to speaking English confidently. Keep it simple, keep it fun, and most importantly, enjoy the process. You've got this. Now that you've started with some basic words, you're ready to take the next step in your English learning journey, using common phrases. This is where the magic really begins. You see, learning words is great, but words alone won't get you far if you want to have real conversations. This is where phrases come in. What are phrases? Well, phrases are small groups of words that people use every day in conversation. They're not full sentences, but they are powerful because they help you communicate quickly and easily. Think of them as little shortcuts that get you straight into real-life conversations. When you know just a few phrases, you can start talking with people, even if you're still learning grammar or don't know a lot of vocabulary. Sounds great, right? Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in a restaurant and you want to order some food. If you've learned the phrase, "Can I have?" you already know how to ask for anything on the menu. You could say, "Can I have a burger?" or "Can I have some water?" See how easy that is? By using this one phrase, you don't need to worry about how to say each word separately. You just plug in the thing you want and you're good to go. Now, let's talk about how common phrases are your best friend when you're starting to learn English. Why? because phrases are used all the time. Native English speakers don't always use long, complicated sentences when they talk. Instead, they rely on phrases. Phrases like, "How are you?" or "What's your name?" are things you'll hear in almost every conversation. When you learn these common phrases, you can dive into everyday conversations much faster than you might think. So, where should you start? Let's begin with some very common everyday phrases that you can start using immediately. Here are a few examples. These phrases are the foundation of real communication. They allow you to start talking with people right away, even if you don't know a lot of English yet. And guess what? Most of these phrases stay the same in any conversation, so once you've learned them, you can use them over and over again. Let me share a tip with you. When you're learning a new phrase, don't just memorize the words. Practice saying the phrase out loud and imagine yourself using it in a real situation. For example, if you're learning the phrase, "Can I have?" practice saying it while imagining yourself in a restaurant ordering food. You could even practice in front of a mirror or with a friend. The more you use the phrase, the more natural it will feel. One of the best things you can do is to start using these phrases in your daily life. Let's say you meet someone who speaks a little English. You can start the conversation by saying, "Hello, how are you?" Or, if you're in a store, you can use the phrase, "Can I have?" when you're buying something. Even if you're not in an English-speaking country, try to find small opportunities to use these phrases every day. The more you use them, the more confident you'll become. Another great way to learn phrases is by listening to English conversations. You can watch TV shows, YouTube videos, or even listen to English podcasts. Pay attention to the phrases people use. You'll notice that many of the same phrases come up again and again in different situations. This is because these phrases are so common that they're used everywhere. You can write down the phrases you hear and practice them on your own. And remember, it's okay to start small. You don't need to learn 100 phrases in one day. Start with just a few, and once you feel comfortable using them, add more to your list. Focus on learning phrases that are useful for you. For example, if you like traveling, you might want to learn phrases like, "Where is the airport?" or "How much does this cost?" If you're learning English for work, you can focus on phrases related to your job. Tailor your learning to your needs, and it will make learning phrases more practical and fun. And don't worry if you make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning a new language. The important thing is that you're trying. If you say a phrase and it doesn't come out perfectly, that's okay. People will understand you, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. Mistakes are just part of the learning process. So here's your next challenge. Choose 5 common phrases that you want to learn today. Write them down, practice saying them, and try to use them in real conversations. Don't be afraid to use them, even if you're shy. The more you use these phrases, the more natural they'll become. And soon, you'll be having conversations in English without even thinking about it. To sum it up, learning common phrases is like having a toolbox full of quick solutions. Whenever you need to say something in English, you can just pull out one of your phrases and use it. This is why phrases are so powerful. They help you communicate faster and more easily. So, keep practicing, keep using these phrases, and before you know it, you'll be speaking English like a pro. Now that you've learned some basic words and common phrases, it's time to move on to one of the most important skills when it comes to learning English: listening. I can't stress enough how vital it is to practice listening. You see, listening is the key that unlocks so many doors in language learning. When you improve your listening skills, you'll be able to understand conversations better, pick up on new words and phrases naturally, and, most importantly, start speaking more fluently. Think about it for a second. How did you learn your native language when you were a baby? You didn't start by reading books or memorizing grammar rules, did you? You listened. You listened to the people around you, your family, your friends, your environment, and slowly you began to understand and mimic the sounds you were hearing. The same principle applies when learning English. By listening to English regularly, you can absorb the language naturally without even realizing it. So, how can you practice listening? Let me share with you some of the easiest and most enjoyable ways to immerse yourself in English. The best part is that you don't need to be in an English-speaking country to do this. You can create your own little English-speaking world right where you are. One of the easiest and most fun ways to practice listening is by listening to English songs. Do you have a favorite English song or artist? If you do, that's great. If not, don't worry, there are so many options to explore. Music is a fantastic way to improve your listening skills because it's enjoyable, and you can listen to the same song over and over again without getting bored. Start by choosing a song that you like. Try to pick something with clear, simple lyrics. Pop songs or ballads are usually great for this. As you listen, pay attention to the words. Even if you don't understand every word at first, that's okay. The more you listen, the more familiar the words will become. You can even look up the lyrics online and read them as you listen. This will help you match the sounds with the words. After a few listens, try singing along. This not only helps your listening, but also your pronunciation. And who doesn't love a little karaoke? One thing I always recommend is to start with slow, clear songs, and then gradually move to faster ones as you improve. Songs like Let It Be by the Beatles or Someone Like You by Adele have slower tempos and clearer lyrics. These are perfect for beginners. Another fantastic way to practice listening is by watching English videos, TV shows, or movies. In today's world, we have access to so much English content online, and it's a treasure trove for English learners. YouTube is a great place to start. There are countless English learning channels, as well as channels that focus on different topics like cooking, travel, science, and entertainment. Choose a topic that interests you and start watching. The more engaged you are, the more you'll absorb the language without even realizing it. When you watch videos or shows, you're not just hearing the words, you're also seeing the actions, expressions, and context. This makes it easier for you to understand what's being said, even if you don't know every word. Subtitles can also be really helpful. If you're just starting out, you can watch with English subtitles. This way, you can read the words while listening to how they are spoken. Over time, as you get more comfortable, try watching without subtitles. Challenge yourself a little. It's how you grow. If you enjoy TV shows, pick one with simple dialogue. Sitcoms like Friends or How I Met Your Mother are great choices because the conversations are usually about everyday life and the language is not too complex. Plus, they're fun to watch. You'll find yourself laughing and learning at the same time. And don't worry if you don't understand everything. Just focus on getting the general meaning and picking up new words and phrases. Podcasts are another amazing tool for improving your listening skills. They're perfect because you can listen to them anywhere, while you're commuting, exercising, cooking, or even relaxing. There are podcasts on every topic you can imagine, so you can choose something that matches your interests. And the best part? There are many podcasts specifically designed for English learners, with slower speech and simpler language. When you listen to a podcast, try to focus on how the speaker pronounces words, the rhythm of the sentences, and how they use intonation. This will help you get used to the natural flow of the language. A great thing about podcasts is that you can pause, rewind, and listen again. If you hear a word or phrase that you didn't catch the first time, you can always go back and listen to it again until you understand it. For beginners, I recommend starting with podcasts that are meant for English learners. Some of the most popular ones are The English We Speak by BBC Learning English or ESL Pod. These podcasts break down new phrases and words in a way that's easy to understand. And as you become more comfortable, you can move on to more advanced podcasts, maybe about a topic you love like history, technology, or personal development. The key to improving your listening skills is consistency. It's not enough to listen to English once a week. You need to make it a daily habit. And don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to sit down for hours and study. Just 10 to 15 minutes of listening practice every day can make a huge difference. You can listen to an English song while you're getting ready in the morning, watch a short video during your lunch break, or play a podcast while you're on the go. The more you expose yourself to English, the more your brain will get used to the sounds, and soon, understanding English will become second nature. Even if you don't understand everything at first, that's okay. The goal is to immerse yourself in the language, so you get used to hearing it regularly. Think of it like learning to swim. At first, the water feels cold, and you might feel uncomfortable, but the more time you spend in it, the more natural it becomes. Now, here's something really important. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word or phrase. This is normal when you're learning a new language. The point of listening practice is to get used to the rhythm and flow of the language. It's okay to miss some words. Focus on the general meaning. Over time, you'll start to catch more and more words, and your understanding will improve. Remember, when you were a child, you didn't understand every word your parents said right away, did you? But over time, as you kept listening, everything started to make sense. The same thing will happen with English. Just keep practicing, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself with new listening materials. One last piece of advice. Make sure your listening practice is enjoyable. Don't force yourself to listen to things you don't like. If you enjoy music, listen to songs. If you love movies, watch them in English. If you're curious about a particular subject, find a podcast or video on that topic. When you're having fun, you'll learn faster, and it won't even feel like studying. Now we come to one of the most important and, for many, the most challenging part of learning English: speaking. I know this step can feel intimidating. You might be thinking, what if I make mistakes? What if people don't understand me? Believe me, you're not alone. Everyone who learns a new language feels this way at first. But here's the truth. If you want to truly master English, you must speak. And the best part? It's okay to make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is how you learn. Let me tell you a little secret. No one, not even native speakers, speaks perfectly all the time. Even the most fluent English speakers make mistakes. We all do. What matters most is that you try, that you open your mouth and start speaking, even if it feels a little scary at first. Because here's the thing. The more you speak, the better you'll get. It's just like learning to ride a bike. At first, you might wobble, you might fall, but with practice, you'll find your balance, and soon enough, you'll be riding smoothly. Speaking is where everything comes together. All the vocabulary you've learned, the phrases you've memorized, and the listening practice you've done, it all gets activated when you start speaking. When you speak, you're not just using English, you're also building your confidence. Each time you speak, even if it's just a few sentences, you're proving to yourself that you can do it. You're reinforcing everything you've learned, and more importantly, you're putting it into action. That's how real progress happens. I know some of you might be thinking, but what if I don't have anyone to practice with? That's a common concern, especially if you live in a place where people don't speak English. But don't worry, there are plenty of ways to practice speaking, even if you don't have an English-speaking partner nearby. The key to speaking without fear is to start small. You don't need to give a speech or have a long conversation right away. Start with something simple. For example, practice introducing yourself. Hi, my name is, or I'm from. These are short, simple sentences, but they're a great way to start using English. You can also practice asking questions like, how are you? Or, what's your name? If you feel nervous about speaking to someone else, start by speaking to yourself. Yes, you heard me right. You can practice speaking English out loud when you're alone. Try talking about your day or describing the things around you. You could say something like, I am going to the store, or this is my book. It might feel a little strange at first, but it's a great way to get used to forming English sentences and speaking out loud. Plus, there's no pressure because no one else is listening. Another great way to start small is by practicing with a mirror. Stand in front of a mirror and imagine you're talking to someone. Practice saying simple sentences or phrases. Look at yourself and focus on your pronunciation and confidence. Speaking in front of a mirror can help you get used to seeing yourself speak English, and it's a good way to build up your self-assurance. Once you feel comfortable speaking to yourself, the next step is to find opportunities to speak with others. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I don't live in an English-speaking country. Who can I speak with? Don't worry. There are plenty of ways to connect with English speakers, even if you're in a non-English speaking environment. One of the best ways is through the internet. We live in an amazing time where you can connect with people from all over the world with just a few clicks. You can join English learning communities, participate in online language exchanges, or even use apps where you can chat with native speakers. Platforms like Tandem, HelloTalk, or Italki allow you to find language partners or tutors who are eager to help you practice speaking. And the best part? These platforms let you practice in a safe and supportive environment where everyone is learning. If you don't feel ready to speak with strangers online, you can start by speaking with friends or family members who know a bit of English. Even if they're not fluent, practicing together can be a lot of fun. You can help each other, share new words, and encourage one another to speak without fear. And here's another tip. When you're out and about, look for small opportunities to use English. If you're at a cafe and you know how to order something in English, try it out. If you meet someone who speaks a little English, say hello and introduce yourself. These small interactions might seem simple, but they're powerful because they help you build your speaking skills step by step. Now, let's talk about something really important: mistakes. Many people are afraid to speak English because they don't want to make mistakes. But here's the thing: mistakes are a natural and necessary part of learning. Think of every mistake as a stepping stone to improvement. When you make a mistake, you learn something new. Maybe you mispronounce a word or use the wrong tense, but that's okay. It's all part of the process. I'll let you in on a little secret. Most people won't even notice your mistakes, especially if they're not native speakers themselves. And if they do notice, they're likely to appreciate the fact that you're making an effort to speak in a different language. The important thing is to keep going. Don't let the fear of mistakes stop you from speaking. Remember, no one expects you to be perfect, especially when you're learning. The more you speak, the fewer mistakes you'll make over time. And guess what? Even if you make mistakes, people will still understand you. Communication is about getting your message across, not about being perfect. If you say, "I go to store" instead of "I'm going to the store," people will still understand what you mean, so don't worry too much about being perfect. Focus on speaking and expressing yourself. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become. Speaking regularly will help you get used to hearing your own voice in English, and it will also help you overcome any fears or anxieties you might have about making mistakes. Remember, confidence comes from practice. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. Try to make speaking English a daily habit. You don't have to speak for hours every day. Even 5 minutes of speaking practice is better than nothing. The key is to do it consistently. Speak to yourself, to friends, to online partners, or even to strangers if you have the chance. Every conversation you have is one step closer to fluency. Finally, remember to reward yourself for speaking. It's a big deal. Every time you speak English, you're making progress. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small. Did you order coffee in English today? Great job. Did you introduce yourself to someone? Fantastic. Did you practice in front of a mirror? That's amazing. Be proud of yourself for taking these steps and keep going. The more you speak, the easier it will become. And one day, you'll look back and realize that what once felt impossible is now something you do with ease. You've made it this far, and I want to take a moment to congratulate you. Learning a language, especially something as widespread and complex as English, is no small feat. You've already taken the most important step by starting your journey, and that's something to be proud of. As we wrap up this lesson, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts, words of encouragement, and some important reminders to help you stay motivated and consistent in your learning. If there's one thing I want you to remember from everything we've talked about, it's this: consistency is the key to success. You don't need to spend hours every day studying English, but you do need to engage with the language regularly. Just like planting a seed, learning English requires time and care. You won't see results overnight, but with consistent effort, little by little, you'll notice your skills improving. Imagine learning English like climbing a mountain. At the beginning, the path can feel steep and progress might seem slow, but with each step you take, you're getting closer to the top. The more you practice, the stronger you'll become, and soon, what once seemed difficult will start to feel natural. But remember, consistency doesn't mean perfection. It's okay if some days you only have time for a few minutes of practice. What matters is that you keep going, no matter how small the step. Try to build English into your daily routine. You could set aside a few minutes each day to listen to a podcast, watch a video, read a short article, or practice speaking. You could even combine English with activities you already enjoy. For example, if you like cooking, find an English recipe and follow it. If you love music, listen to English songs while you go about your day. The key is to make English a regular part of your life. The more exposure you have to the language, the more natural it will feel, and the faster you'll improve. It's easy to get caught up in wanting to be fluent right away, but remember to enjoy the process. Learning English is a journey, not a race. There will be moments of frustration, times when you struggle to understand a new word or when you make mistakes. But those moments are a natural part of learning. In fact, they're opportunities for growth. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Celebrate the small victories along the way. Each new word you learn, every conversation you have, and every mistake you correct is a step forward. I know it can be tempting to focus only on the end goal, to want to speak like a native speaker as soon as possible. But don't forget to take pleasure in the learning itself. Think of all the new things you've already discovered. You're not just learning a language, you're also learning about new cultures, ideas, and perspectives. English opens up a whole world of knowledge and connection. You'll be able to communicate with people from different countries, watch movies without subtitles, read books in their original form, and explore new ideas that you might not have had access to before. Isn't that exciting? Remember, the process of learning is just as important as the result. Embrace the journey and don't rush it. Each day you spend learning English is a day where you're expanding your mind, improving your skills, and growing as a person. One of the best ways to stay motivated is by setting realistic goals for yourself. When you set goals, you give yourself something to work towards. But remember, your goals should be achievable. It's important not to overwhelm yourself with too much at once. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be fluent in 6 months," try setting smaller, more specific goals like, "I will learn 5 new words this week," or "I will have a short conversation in English every day." By breaking your learning into smaller steps, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment more often, which will keep you motivated. Every small goal you achieve is progress, and that progress will build over time. Keep track of your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Whether it's understanding a new word, speaking more confidently, or watching a movie without needing subtitles. Every bit of progress counts. And don't forget to reward yourself when you achieve a goal. Celebrate the effort you've put in. Learning a language is hard work, and you deserve to feel proud of every milestone you reach. Another thing to remember is to be patient with yourself. Learning English, or any language, takes time. There will be days when it feels like you're not making any progress, and that's completely normal. We all have moments of doubt, but don't let those moments discourage you. Trust in the process. With every mistake, with every challenge, you're learning something new. Keep going, and remember that it's okay to take breaks when you need them. Learning a language is not a straight path. Some days you'll make a lot of progress, and other days might feel slower. But that's all part of the process. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you'll get there. Be kind to yourself, and don't compare your progress to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. One of the most effective ways to stay consistent is by surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. Create an environment where English is a regular part of your day, even if you're not actively studying. You can listen to English music while you do chores, watch English videos in your free time, or follow social media accounts in English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more it will become a natural part of your life. If possible, try to connect with other people who are also learning English. You can join online language groups, participate in language exchanges, or find a study partner. Having someone to share your progress with can be incredibly motivating. You'll be able to practice together, share tips, and encourage each other to keep going. And don't forget, every time you engage with English, whether it's listening, reading, writing, or speaking, you're making progress. Even on the days when it feels hard or when you don't think you've learned much, remember that every bit of effort counts. Finally, I want to remind you to keep a positive mindset. Learning a language can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. It's normal to feel frustrated at times, but don't let that frustration turn into negativity. Whenever you feel like giving up, take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Look back at all the words you've learned, the conversations you've had, and the progress you've made since you first started. That progress is proof that you can do this. Maintaining a positive mindset will help you stay motivated, even on the tough days. Remember why you started learning English in the first place. Maybe it's to improve your career opportunities, travel, or connect with people from different cultures. Whatever your reason, hold on to it and let it inspire you to keep moving forward. So, as you continue on your English learning journey, remember these key points. Stay consistent, enjoy the process, set realistic goals, be patient with yourself, surround yourself with English, and keep a positive mindset. You're already on the path to success. Just keep going, one step at a time. Every effort you make brings you closer to your goal of mastering English. You've got this.